So yeah, Super Mario 64, 100% a lock.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 64, 100%. Ocarina of Time, lock.
Yeah.
I think we have to skip, like, GoldenEye's not making it. Diddy Kong Racing, probably not. Donkey Kong 64, probably not. And it wasn't that good. Conker's definitely not gonna make it.
Oh, no.
Oh, here's an interesting one. Does Majora's Mask make it on a Nintendo 64 Classic?
I honestly can see them leaving it out, which is unfortunate because that's my favorite Zelda game. But
Yeah, let me
I
make these
feel like
icons
if they're
bigger.
it wouldn't surprise me if they only put on Ocarina.
Yeah.
Oh, Mystical Ninja. Yes, Ian. Absolutely.
Ian says, yeah, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, Chameleon Twist, Mischief Makers. Those
Mischief
are
Makers too.
Those are three fun games that, well, those ain't making it. And I'm not hating. I have
Mystical Ninjas.
I have
Mystical
2 out of
Ninja.
those 3 in the house right now. What is MM better make it?
Majora's Mask.
Oh, Majora's Mask. Okay. I don't know.
Honestly, I could see them leaving it out, like to make room for other games.
Yeah.
But I do want both of them on there.
I could
On
yeah.
this system that doesn't exist. It has not been announced and probably never will.
Yeah. Meg also seconds Chameleon Twist. We never played that one.
Yeah, I always heard about it, but I never got around to like renting it or anything.
Is Paper Mario a lock?
I would say so.
I think that's a pretty good safe bet.
I feel like with the classics, they've always tried to include RPGs, and the N64 doesn't exactly have a whole lot of RPGs on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a lock.
Okay. Star Fox 64, I think that's a lock.
Yeah.
If they're gonna include Pokemon, I think Snap is the game.
Yeah.
We can skip the Banjos. Wave Race 64.
Ooh, that's a toss up. I feel like for me, because that was like one of the launch games, right? It was one of 2. Yeah.
Well, no, it was one
wait.
of the first games to come out after launch.
Okay. Because the first 2 games were Mario 64 and Pilot Wings.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Wave Race, I could see on there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a shame that they haven't released any new Wave Race games since the GameCube one.
Ambigamers says, wait, did we see Star Fox 64 yet? So let's rewind really quick. Star Fox 64, absolutely a lock. The pinnacle of the Star Fox series, still a fantastic game to play. It's got multiplayer as well, 4-player, the debut of the Rumble Pack. How could we possibly skip out on this monumental piece of Nintendo history?
It's also the game that gave me nightmares for years. I got the easy ending where what's his name, Andros appears in the sky and laughs at you, and I like screamed through the controller to the ground and ran out of the room crying. And I remember Jet being very upset that I threw the controller to the ground.
Kirby 64. I've never played this one. This is probably a safe bet, though. There's always a Kirby game, right? Yeah. Pokemon Stadium, gonna say no. Mario Tennis. They're gonna well, tennis and golf are locks, right? Right?
I want to say so. My only thought is like maybe they don't want to include them because they've got newer versions of them and they're kind of the same game-ish. Because like Mario 64 and like Mario Odyssey are most distinctly different games. Whereas like Mario Tennis and Mario Golf, more so Tennis feels like the same game every time.
Okay.
And maybe they just want to drive sales of tennis. I don't know.
Jet Force Gemini, no. Mario Party of some sort is a lock. I think there is no way they put 3 Mario Parties on a Nintendo 64 Classic.
Oh, absolutely not. I think if they were going to pick one, it would be 2. I mean, I want to. I think they might be more tempted to put on 3 because it's got Daisy and Waluigi in it. It's Waluigi's debut, I think.
No,
I think it's Mario. Wait.
I think he debuted in tennis. Or no.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Huh. I'm getting discombobulated. Mario Party 2 is my favorite of that set, but my gut says they would go with Mario Party 1.
Absolutely.
Because
not.
it's the okay. Oh wait, yeah, they can't do Mario Party 1 because of the spinny thing. You're right. Oh, I hope they go 2 over 3.
Giving kids stigmata. Like, yeah. No.
Ian says, I agree with Randy, gotta be Mario Party 2. Alright. Star Wars Shadows of the... This is a weird pick. I remember, like, playing this at the time when the Nintendo 64 had 4 games out, and I got Shadows of the Empire for Christmas, and I played the hell out of this game. And I feel like this game benefits from rose-tinted glasses today. And people, if they were to look back at that game now, would realize, oh, this game actually wasn't that good. I think that the snow level on Hoth is still a groundbreaking achievement in games, flying in a 3D space and attaching the cables to the AT-ATs and the AT-STs and wrapping them around to make them trip. Incredible. The rest of the game, pretty rough.
I do remember that battle on Hoth stage and thinking it was really cool. Don't remember actually playing basically any of the rest of this.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you play it.
It's
I don't know
bad.
that I played it myself. Yeah, it doesn't look great.
It was not great at the time, and with the advancements in third-person action games and third-person shooters, this game has aged horribly. I would absolutely take the first level of this and put this on a Nintendo 64 Classic as a demo, and that's all you need. A Star Wars game that I would love to see on the Nintendo 64 Classic. Licensing might be a little weird. Wait, isn't there a Star Wars game on? No, I don't think there's a Star Wars game on the SNES Classic. If there were on the N64 Classic, I would like either Podracer or Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, I love Podracer.
I think Podracer's great.
I want to say, did they remake Podracer recently?
Recently,
or
yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not making that up. So maybe they'd be less tempted to put the original up now that they're selling a remake. But yeah. I would love to see it.
Yeah, I think if there was going to be a Star Wars game, Rogue Squadron is the lock. People love that game.
I really don't remember that one at all.
We never played it.
Okay.
But yeah, it was heralded at the time as a miracle. Sorry?
I know there was a sequel on the GameCube, yeah. I want to say. That's all I know about it, really.
MB Gamer says there is a Star Wars game on PS1 called Jedi Power Battles, and I would love to see that put on any current console. I don't know what that one is off the top of my head. Let me Google that. Power Battles. I know the Masters of Terakazi game is a thing. This is... Okay, action game. You run around in a 3D space, slice and dice. At least based on the pictures. Alright. Also, I typed in Nintendo 64. Apparently, I can't spell anything with the Nintendo 64. A couple of other game, I'm just using this list, whatever was up here for reference. Blast Core would be an interesting choice, but I think that's also rare. So probably not. 1080 snowboarding is probably a lock.
Ooh, yeah, probably.
Bomberman 64.
I love Bomberman 64, and I will fight anyone who says it is bad.
Bomberman
is
64
bad,
is bad.
I really quite enjoyed that game. Like the multiplayer, of course, is a lot of fun. I thought it was the single player was also great, if not. It was weird and kind of janky, but I still loved it.
Yeah, it was definitely Bomberman trying to find its legs in 3D, and they didn't quite figure it out, but it is a fascinating slice of Bomberman history nevertheless.
I still love it.
Ian asks, but would they do 64, Second Attack, or Hero?
Having only played 64 and not the other two, my biased opinion is they're gonna do 64
because it says 64.
I feel like people liked Hero though, right?
It seems like those games got better over time.
Yeah.
Doom 64, Nintendo. Well, again, Bethesda, Microsoft. I think that has a reasonable chance of making it.
Didn't they also release Doom 64 on the Switch recently?
Yeah.
I do wonder if they have any issues with putting M-rated games on these classics, because they didn't really have to worry about that for the SNES or NES classics. But like, would they be willing to put an M-rated game on these?
Yeah, that's a good point. I would say yes, but we don't have any precedent for that.
Yeah.
Because once you start to get into like Turok territory,
yeah,
gets kind of gnarly. I think you would probably get Turok 1 on an N64 classic.
I played a lot of Turok 2, but specifically using the cheats and like the warp codes and everything, and I never played that game properly, but I quite enjoyed playing the broken version that I made myself play.
Okay. Both of these games were technical marvels at the time, but I don't know how well they've aged. I've been meaning to go back to those on the Switch, but never got around to it.
Yeah.
A couple of other ones here. Yoshi's Story is probably a lock.
Yeah.
Barf. The worst Yoshi game. Well, maybe not the worst Yoshi game, but it is not a good Yoshi game.
Oh, yeah. Yoshi's Island DS wasn't great. I mean, it was probably better than Yoshi's Story. Yeah, I want to say one of the newer Yoshi's Island games didn't go over so well. I think it's Yoshi's New Island that people didn't like. Yeah, Yoshi's Story is, it's not my favorite. But yeah.
My biggest criticism of Yoshi's Story was that they tried very hard to make Yoshi's Story a kids game, like for little kids, and the challenge of the game is completely gone. You can just walk around and the game like almost plays itself.
Yeah. But I think that was one of the first games that kind of followed Nintendo's ethos for platforming games now, is that like to progress through the game is super duper easy, but if you wanted to go for like extra challenges, like finding all of the giant hearts or eating 30 melons in each of the levels, like the challenge is there if you want it to.
Yeah.
I feel like in this case, Yoshi's Story is the case. They maybe went a little too easy on the base game, and like the art style was definitely, I feel like it was polarizing at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, but like that's probably one of the first games where they really went for like easy to play through, but the challenge is there if you want it.
All right, moving on. In a controversial, a hot take, I'm putting Smash Bros on our Nintendo 64 Classic.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I understand that, compared to Melee, Smash Bros on the Nintendo 64, hot garbage. No, I hope you all know I'm being facetious here. Of course, this is gonna have Smash Bros on it. I can't speak to Harvest Moon 64 or Rayman. I'm gonna say no to Rayman. Snowboard Kids would be a very interesting pick, because that one feels like very much like this was a Nintendo 64 game.
Yes. Like the super deformed characters, and then, like, the fact that the whole game is just, it feels weird. Like, I loved it. It was cute. It was quirky. The fights at the bottom for the ski lift, so good, so rage inducing. I love it. Love it so much, and I want a new Snowboard Kids that is in the style of Snowboard Kids and not the one they did for the DS.
Well, we can also say, for Ian's sake, Goemon's Great Adventure, absolutely a lock. Or is that that's not the Mystical Ninja, right?
Game.
That's a different game.
So Mystical Ninja is the first Goemon game they put out for N64, and then Goemon's Great Adventure is the sequel.
Okay.
I feel like technically Goemon's Great Adventure is like the more polished game. It's a side scroller. They play very differently. They cut out a lot of the music from Goemon's Great Adventure, which they didn't do for Mystical Ninja, and for that I'd want Mystical Ninja over this game. I also feel like it's just a more fun game overall. But Goemon's Great Adventure, definitely more polished.
All right. Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Mortal Kombat 4, like, absolutely not. Those were not. This was not exactly a high point in the Mortal Kombat series, and Nintendo, like, that's particularly on the Nintendo platforms as well. Like, you don't want to play Mortal Kombat on the Nintendo 64 controller. Though, looking at the rest of this list, Killer Instinct Gold, oh no! Also not making it on the Nintendo 64 Classic for legal and copyright reasons, which is a damn shame, because Killer Instinct Gold is fantastic.
Yeah, I played the heck out of Killer Instinct Gold.
Oh, so good.
I loved it.
I think only recently surpassed by Modern Killer Instinct, which is a game that, I wish I had gotten more into. It just kind of fell by the wayside with other stuff, but it is out on Steam, and I might have to pick that version up, because yeah, Modern KI is an incredible fighting game.
I never actually get super into fighting games, but I will probably check that out.
And yeah, and of course Mickey Speedway, like, why we don't even have to
there are people who really like Mickey Speedway.
I've never played it.
I think it really I might be getting this wrong. I want to say it has very few courses. Yeah, people like that game. I might be getting it confused with Magical Tetris Challenge, which was the Disney Tetris version, the Disney Tetris game. People loved that too.
All right.
Yeah.
For anybody in the chat, is there any other games you would like to nominate for the Nintendo 64 Classic before we wrap this up? Again, I'm not looking. We were just like scanning Google's top image. I'm sure there's other games that are worthy that we didn't look at, and I'll take one quick scan here. If there's, I think that list was a pretty comprehensive list though of the games you would expect on a Nintendo 64 Classic. What? Oh my god! How dare we talk about the Nintendo 64 Classic and not mention F-Zero X? I know you were probably thinking I was going to make a joke about Superman 64. No! F-Zero X has to be there.
Absolutely.
I'm almost certain that is a lock, because it's a Nintendo first party game. It's a racing game that Nintendo at the time basically had. They had more than that, but F-Zero X is still one of the best racing games. Period. Don't at me. Athena Superman 64. No,
yeah.
this isn't it. This isn't
but
it.
also in that row, Tetrisphere, I absolutely would want on the Nintendo 64 Classic.
It's a fun game.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Will it make it? Probably not.
No.
But it's a shame, I feel like, that they kind of ditched that idea after that one game, because it was a great game. Don't know if I would have called it Tetris, but I mean, it's yet another one of those games that like isn't really Tetris, but has the Tetris name attached to it. But it's great. I love it.
That made me think of another game. Like, oh man, there was another one that I'm blanking out on of like, how did we not talk about this? And now I cannot remember.
Oh no, I'm looking at a list right now. San Francisco Rush, I remember, was a game.
That'd be fun. I think that's actually not like that game. That the franchise still exists. I think doesn't Nintendo still do? They still do Cruisin' in the arcade.
Yeah, Cruisin' is still a thing.
So Cruisin' USA might actually make it on a Nintendo 64 Classic.
Didn't they just recently announce a port of Cruisin' something for the Switch? Cruisin' Blast? What was it? I'm looking.
Possibly.
Yeah, Cruisin' Blast.
I found the game. I knew the game that I would like to see. That it's got a Excite Bike 64 is one of the most slept on Nintendo games in existence.
Yeah.
Such a good game, fantastic racing, 4-player with the stunts, and it's just really good. I don't know anything about dirt bike racing, and this game is great. Everyone talks about the NES game. That game is garbage. Excite Bike 64 is actually where it's at.
That had the OG Rocket League. That had a soccer mode where you rode on motorcycles and you pushed the giant ball around.
Athena, you are a gamer of culture. Thank you. All the Excite Bike 64 stands, stand up.
Oh man.
Yeah, the new Tetris is fun, but that's not going to make it. Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey was the other one that I would love to see on there. It's that second best hockey game next to NHL 94.
Extreme G2.
Just scanning now. I think we're good.
I don't know. I'm looking through. I feel like there's still like other games that missed, or at least I have missed.
Okay.
Gauntlet Legends, I would love to see on there. I don't know if that's gonna make it.
No.
No.
Wetrix.
I was about to say Ready to Rumble, and I realized how bad the port was on the N64. Oh, Wetrix! I love Wetrix.
Okay.
Oh man,
I like Wetrix as well.
I feel like I played that recently, and I don't know where. I don't know. I don't think I emulated it. Maybe I pulled out then. No, you have the N64, so I don't.
I have a copy of it that I think I bought after the fact. And Ian says, I actually heard of Gretzky. He must be really famous. Oh my goodness. Yes. Wayne Gretzky, Canadian icon, the GOAT, the greatest hockey player that's ever lived, owns almost like 1 billion NHL records. One of my favorite stats is that Wayne Gretzky and his brother Brett Gretzky are the highest scoring sibling duo in NHL history, of which Brett Gretzky only has like 5 goals to his career. Yeah, just shows how much of a beast Wayne Gretzky was in his prime. Yeah, any other thing? It would be fun to have on a Nintendo 64 Classic, Clay Fighter 63 1/3, the Sculptor's Cut. Look at the price on this right now.
Oh, wow. Wow. Because I think that was the game that was only available at Blockbuster, like as a rental. I don't think you could buy that.
Correct.
That's why it's $1,600. Oh,
Yeah, one of the rarest Nintendo 64 games. Would be awesome to have that in there, but I mean, I don't even know who owns that license anymore. But because of the history around that game, it would be cool to have, even though it's not very good. Hey, Pikachu,
Rampage.
Daikatana.
Oh boy, Daikatana.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe that is it. Oh, I remember. I just saw Mission Impossible in this list.
that's a fun
remember-
one.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I just remember renting that game, I think. Or did someone else own it?
We rented it multiple times
Okay.
because it was kind of like GoldenEye, but not really. It had some cool ideas, but overall, it wasn't very good.
There are a lot of games that I remember from my childhood that are probably not very good.
I mean, especially in the, like, no offense to you, Randy, or everyone in that generation, of which I feel is a number of people who hang out on this channel.
Yeah.
That particular era of games, when developers were trying to figure out 3D graphics and movement in 3D space, there was a lot of games in that era that have not aged well in terms of how they look or how they play.
Yeah. Oh no, a lot of those 3D games are not great. They
No.
have not aged well at all. Just looking through this list on Wikipedia here, the original version of Animal Crossing was on
That
the
would be
N64,
fun.
but only in Japan.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if they did actually port that to the N64 Classic for Japan. They're 100% not gonna translate it,
No.
but yeah.
The Japanese version of the Nintendo 64 Classic would 100% have Animal Crossing on it.
Yeah.